Good evening, everyone, and we are live on YouTube. And guess what, you guys? Holy shit, I've been hijacked. I've been hijacked by the EO show, and here they come. They've taken over. Hey, guys, what's up?
What's going on, everybody?
What's up?
Thanks for hosting us.
Absolutely.
For those of you from TaraLee's channel who don't know, we are the Embracing Organics live show, and we talk about anything organic that has to do with cannabis mostly, but pretty much anything organic. And we're glad to be here, and hopefully get some new faces to check out the show. But it's good to be on Tara's channel for sure, hanging out with the boys.
And lady.
And lady.
Okay, I just posted the link in your guys' Hangouts, so you guys should be able to follow that link and get the chat up, I hope. Hopefully you'll see chat here in a minute. And I was not ready to host a show tonight, guys, so I am going to let these guys just take over. It is their show tonight. All it is my channel. So here you go, guys. It's yours, Jeff. Whoever wants to take it over, how about it?
She said me, so I guess that sounds like me.
Anybody,
All,
whoever.
Thank you for rescuing us. We were having problems with the Zoom application and something in technology and computer land we're fighting. So we're proud to be here and delighted to be able to go live on your channel. So thank you for graciously hosting us. I don't know how familiar your people are with our people, so maybe we should introduce all of our fine friends here. I'm going to be rude and introduce myself because I'm already rambling. I'm Rasta Jeff. I am not actually the host of the Embracing Organic show. I host my own show called the Grow From Your Heart podcast, but I love to contribute to Embracing Organics. So that's me. I'm Rasta Jeff. On my screen, the lovely young man to the right of me is Zen Premium Cannabis. I don't know how it's popping up on YouTube, but I'm going to throw it over to my buddy Zen. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
All right, man. How's it going? I'm Zen Premium Cannabis. I'm just a home grower who's doing the best he can, getting the best quality out of a small space. I do weekly YouTube updates as well as the Instagram account. Everybody's got one, so that's pretty much it. Part of the Embracing Organics, and love being part of the crew.
Very well done. Let's go to Fumador next. Hey, Fume, would you politely and kindly introduce yourself and tell us a little about your kind self?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to do it politely, but well, I'm normally pretty polite.
All
so
right,
I'm Fumador. I'm an yeah, exactly. All you bastards. Anyway, I'm an organic grower, medical grower, and I run the Portland Cannabis Tasting Club. We're actually having our 1-year birthday party, basically not next week, 2 weeks from now. I think it's the 24th. I can't believe it's actually been a year of the tasting club. Anyway, so I run a club. Yeah, thank you very much. We're going to taste an assload of weed. Well, it's not going to be an assload, but it's going to be a buttload, a huge amount of weed, basically. I figured out not too long ago that I grind through, and thankfully now I have bigger grinders to save my wrists. I grind through no less than a ½ pound of weed per meeting, no less than. And mostly it's about a pound that we smoke through. Now, it's not more than, it's like a few people. It's like 70 people, but still, it's like a pound of weed for 70 people. I'm proud of that. So I've been telling people. Anyway. Come join us on the 24th. It'll be a lot of fun at the Northwest Cannabis Club. Other than that, cheers. Whoever's next, I can't see. To me, maybe Keith is to the right, but I don't know. Anyway, Jeff, back to you.
Oh, that sounds like a good segue. Let's just let our friend Keith over here. What are you calling yourself today? Let's let Black Sail unmute himself. He's muted right now. So unmute yourself and talk about yourself, buddy.
He's the one true pirate here.
Hi, my name's Keith from Black Sail. Yeah, man, things are cooling off here in Denver. This excites me. I'm looking forward to getting some really nice low temps in my garden, especially late in flower, without having to run the AC bill up in my apartment. So this will be my first time growing in winter in a cold place. And I just now started thinking about it because we just got kind of our first crisp fall day. And I'm fucking stoked, man. So yeah, that's what I've got going on. I build LEDs. Check out blacksailmarket.com for all your LED needs. Peace.
Glorious. It looks like our buddy over here, Empire's abandoned his camera. So that's Empire Dave in the middle that's ignoring us. We've got a friend down here called Frass Valley, who I am not familiar with. You're muted for now, brother, but would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I run an organic frass company called Frass Valley, and yeah, I do home deliveries and been traveling all over the United States this summer, and yeah, like to help out anyone who likes to grow.
Thanks for joining us. Good to meet you, brother.
Yeah, you too, man.
Nice to meet you, man.
And then last but not least, he doesn't have himself on camera. It looks like he's got a monster eating a Lego man today, and I dig it. Stabby McStabwood is on the show. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Oh, what's up, man? I am bushed. As some of you may or may not know, been working on a little project, starting a little legitimate cannabis business of my own. Still more will be revealed about that later because everything's not finalized, you know, dealing with the state and whatnot, licensing and stuff. So just facing some challenges and been working hard to get everything ready while we take care of everything and get everything in order. And you know, just I'm beat, man. Still working a day job too, so and I haven't been doing much of the gardening thing, just still on like genetic preservation mode with my little just a little 2x2x2 tent, and I've got we'll say a decent amount of cuts in there for the size of it. I like to use little nursery pots, and I've found that even with soil, it's really easy to keep a plant stunted and hang on to something when maybe it's not ideal for you to be growing at the moment, you know?
Right.
So, but I did learn some new extraction techniques recently, and I used some of my last harvest for that, and I've been enjoying some tasty dabs, little Michelangelo salad and some Mendo in there, and this and that, a little bit of everything. It's pretty tasty stuff.
So is it a new concentration tech or a new tech to you?
A new tech to me.
All right.
So,
anything you want to share, or is it some private stabby tech?
Yeah. Can't conceal too much, you know, but just adding tools to my arsenal and learning more every day, and hopefully I can help spread that knowledge in a meaningful way through channels like ours and channels like Tara's, and really appreciate what she does over here. She doesn't really get enough attention, and she's been a long time supporter of the EO show, and we appreciate her hosting us tonight.
Well, thank you, Stabby. I really appreciate that. I really don't like to stand out too much. I am just new, so I'm just kind of starting out, and I'm just kind of starting to form a group of friends that are coming and joining me live. And Fumador's kind of got his own thing going on too. I think a lot of us are finally deciding to step out and show our faces and be out in the limelight and let us know that there's more of us out there and not feel so alone.
There are too many people out there speaking for us that don't know what they're saying. So we had to come out of the shadows and speak up. That's my opinion.
I 100% agree with you, man. All right, guys. Well, welcome. Hey, everybody out there, thank you so much for coming to my channel tonight. And thank you. Welcome all the EO people that have come on over here. I am letting the EO take over tonight. In fact, whoever wants to take over host tonight, I'm going to give you a host, and it is your show. Literally, I'm going to sit back and enjoy.
Welcome to the show, Tanasi. Tanasi showed up a little late. Tanasi's down there. Welcome, brother. Hope you shared the link for everybody.
Thanks, Tanasi.
Hey, how are you? How's everybody? Everybody's doing good. Hey, you know what it is?
Yeah!
Dab time.
Heyo. Still got to grind up mine, but working out. I'm out of dabs.
You're out of dabs?
What?
That's poor planning, my friend.
Pretty sure I have some diamonds in the freezer, but I think I need to get rid of those.
Now, when you say you're out of dabs, does that mean that you're just like sick of all the stuff you have, or you're like literally out of weed?
No, I'm literally ran out of material. I have a little bit of Girl Scout flour. This stuff's really nice and frosty. The thing is, it's a little dry, but I'm just gonna have to deal with that. I have a little bit of. This is like literally one dab, half a dab, maybe. So
That's rough.
I can do one good one if something exciting happens. You got to celebrate for some reason during the show tonight. You know, bust that baby out and rip it. But till then, I'll be on this Girl Scout.
Man, there's a dispensary 4 miles that way and 6 miles that way.
Yeah, keep telling us how pampered you are.
Oh man,
I could walk to 10.
Yeah,
I could walk.
Yep. No, I really hope that it is that convenient for everyone to access someday. And that's part of what we do here. If you don't have access to cannabis yourself, we can't recommend that you do anything illegal, but we will teach you some solid gardening skills here and help you along a journey, because that's what this has been to me, at least.
That's why I started my YouTube channel for sure.
Yeah, I've always been a hobbyist. I've always been a tinkerer. I've always been into, just all sorts of weird shit. And it wasn't until I became a cannabis grower that I really found my passion and really found something that I think I'm good at. And I hope the people around me at least aren't blowing smoke up my ass about it. And, I think that I can make a living out of it, and hopefully, everyone can have that kind of opportunity someday, but it's definitely not easy.
That's the dream, man. Props to you for chasing your dreams and actually following through with it. So many people have ideas and they have plans and they talk about it, but no one actually does it. And you've done most of the opposite. I haven't heard much, but I know you're getting a lot done. So good job.
Yeah,
man.
just been busy. I don't like to count my chickens before they hatch either, so I don't like to reveal too much before anything's set in stone, but just know that it's been a process and big things are coming.
Keep chasing that dream, because I can testify, and people who have been following me will tell you, I've been doing this for much longer than it appears. It looks like I just came out of nowhere one day and I was crushing it. I've been at it for several years, probably 10 or 12 years, doing just the idea of IRE genetics. So it may take you 10 years to get where you see progress. People on social media, the internet, TV, they don't show you all of the work that it took. They don't show you the day when they were driving a beat up fucking 86 Ford Escort. They don't talk about that day. They want to talk about being Gucci and flossing all day. They don't remember the roots. You remember that you have to start there to get somewhere. So don't let the struggle defeat you. It doesn't just happen overnight. Like the internet wants you to think that it just happens. Fucking blink. I've got 10 million followers suddenly. It doesn't. Nobody's. And if you do come up that way, you're fucked. It's only going to last a couple of weeks. Those people that skyrocket to the top, they fucking plummet to the bottom. So do your work and take your time and appreciate it while it's coming. Scrape by while you have to, so that when you're a rock star, bro, you can look back and go, damn, I was eating pizzas out of the microwave just to survive.
I was surviving off of ramen this week just because I was so busy working and shit. I didn't have time to eat, and I was like, oh man, I got to take my thyroid medication, dude. I got to take my pill and I got to eat something.
Something in my guts.
Throw an egg in that ramen, you'll be good.
There you go. Man, how do some people, I watched somebody eat ramen just boiling, scalding hot the other day. I was like, that's still like bubbling. How are you doing that? Just go, 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 go. Ooh.
So
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that guy, man. I'm that guy who will be chomping on the pizza as it's removing skin from the roof of my mouth.
Oh my God.
Sometimes just don't have time for nonsense, well, plus I've been a shift worker for most of my adult life, and you don't really get breaks, man. Like you get to eat when you get to eat, and you gotta keep shit going.
As I'm getting older, I've made it more of an importance to have a meal period for myself. I'm going to take off my shoes. If I'm at the house, I'm going to take off my shoes. I'm going to get comfortable, and I'm going to have like a good 25 to 35 minutes to just enjoy food. I think it's important to just stop for a minute. And yeah, it's good for your mind, and you can't just be rushing and feeding yourself. That's a waste of, the calories are going out as quickly as they come in. It tastes better when you sit down.
Yeah, like everyone here knows that I've got kids, and we try to sit down as a family and have a meal together every night now. And, and that's become a tradition for us. And I think it's a value that's good to have. And, I think it's, everyone's going to raise their kids how they want to, but that time with your kids like that's important,
Yep. If you watch TV shows from back in the day, Roseanne, and what's the other one? The Wonder Years, half their conversations happened at the dinner table. That 70s show, it's all around the dinner table. Somebody's getting text notifications. Will you please mute your phone?
It's Dave.
That's me. I'm sorry.
Damn it, Dave. I still love you, but mute your
phone. Vibrate.
It's business, dude. Business never stops. Never stops. 8 o'clock at night, I'm still getting fucking business texts. Sorry about that. I just muted my phone. I apologize.
I'm mostly trolling you, but
No, I was being an
Never
asshole.
stops. I've got my seed counter, my sorter, and a bunch of seeds over here stacked up. As soon as we're done here, I'm going back and just sorting and
Yeah,
packing.
man.
I know.
Keep
I got
hustling, Dave.
I
Keep
got probably
hustling.
100
Put that
emails.
shit
I
on
need to
vibrate.
go through tonight, and I need to transplant all my plants. So I'm like, and I got a baby, and I'm just.
Yeah.
This is like the
Yeah.
fifth thing on his list was, and I got a baby. Like that's number 5.
Yeah, it's like number 5 on the priority right now. It's fucking terrible.
And I'll be getting back to work soon. I got to prepare for the Boston Freedom Rally. Anybody in chat going to be hitting up the Boston Freedom Rally?
Dave's delegated his work. He's got a wife.
Yeah, she's damn good at what she does. Let me tell you what. I wish I could go to that Boston Freedom Rally. We had something similar here in Denver last weekend, and I tried to jet out to go there, but it's tough. But
it's tough.
I want to go. I just want to go to watch people yell at each other. Maybe a fight. I don't know.
Oh no, really?
I'm just saying, in today's political climate, it's so either one side or the other, and you get those two sides together, there's bound to be some friction, and that's just, to me, that's entertainment. So
that's why I don't go.
Like, I'm a pretty hardcore constitutionalist. I believe in people have their rights, and you even have a right to protest, and I'll respect that.
Agreed.
But when you start protesting a protest of a protest, it's like, okay, this is just getting ridiculous. This needs to stop.
Sometimes it does feel that way, but I mean, the idea of a protest is to get differing opinions out there. So it is, if you go to those, keep an open mind. Listen to what people have to say. You might learn something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I always try
to talk about politics.
Yeah, I try not to. It's like one of my big taboos.
Politics tonight.
Yeah.
But I just try to encourage people to stay open-minded, and that goes in all regards in life, including cannabis, because there's still a stigma out there. Speaking of, I never really talked about it, but I got a chance to go to the first annual Midwestern meetup, and got to meet Dabney Bowman in person from the DGC, and he is a cool fucking dude, and he moved from a strict prohibition area, and he said where he used to live, if they knew that you smoked cannabis, your neighbors would burn down your fucking house.
What?
So, yeah.
That seems
so. There's still a stigma out there, and we just need to stay open-minded about things and encourage others to stay open-minded about things and be reasonable, be kind, because there's way too much hate in this world.
You're like a witch or something if you smoke herb. That's crazy.
Oh, I love this clone. TaraLee, this clone was perfect. It was split already for me. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, man, that's the way every TaraLee clone comes out the garden, bro. I don't give nobody no fucking weak one little fucking pussy shit, dude. It's
no.
double stocked out like that, bro.
I love it, dude. It looks so good.
Oh, bro. Well, hey, you know what? TaraLee, could I have you do me a favor? Could I have you give a gift shout out to my chat tonight? Tell everybody welcome tonight. And then, you might want to start talking about your guest tonight.
That's what I was leading up to, this little talk I was about to do. But yeah, everybody in chat, what's up? I hope everybody got over from the EO show and got my little post I made and whatnot. I hope everybody's got some dabs. I'm ready for one. Boom, boom. But yeah, we got Frass Valley in the house tonight, dude. So this guy come across country with a bunch of INSECT FRASS. Fucking hook me up, son.
Yo.
How's it going?
Good, man. How about yourself?
Very good, dude. I'm going through that fucking bag slow as hell.
Word, yeah. Yeah, pile it on, man.
I usually buy like 5 pounds at a time for like $60. It was insane.
Oh yeah. No, it was way overpriced, man. It was like $13 a pound, which is outrageous.
What do you sell yours per pound? What's your cost?
Well, online it is like somewhere between like 4 and 5 for just to cover shipping and everything, but I do like cross-country trips where it's like pretty much half of that. So
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, delivery to your city. It's pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
Well, where do you source your input material? I mean, are you manufacturing?
Exactly what I was gonna ask.
So I'm in PA, and my friends, they grow superworms. So all of my frass is superworm based, which they have the highest chitin rating of any insect frass, and they also have like a crazy amount of beneficial bacteria, degrading bacteria. That's like the other side of the coin, which you need. So it instantly like starts degrading itself into your soil and boosting crazy beneficials, and you know, lots of, it's really good fungal food. It's just an amazing material.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, good way to test the microbial activity of your insect frass. Make a compost tea. See how much it bubbles. You'll know right away if you've got active microbes in there or not, and if it's legit frass. Because some of that stuff that you get in the mail, it smells like they cut it with cocoa powder or something.
Yeah,
you know, it's
totally. Yeah, there's a lot that they're grown in like wheat bran more often than not. So lots of stuff is like really powdery. That's like your first sign that it's no good.
How did you get into this? How long have you been doing it?
Like 3 years now. Yep. I worked on an insect farm, and then, you know, started slinging the frass, and I turned a lot of growers onto it at this point, and yeah, it's just like it's extremely high quality, so it's definitely worth checking out.
That's interesting. I always feel like insect frass is like a topic that's never really discussed or talked about, especially in like the organic scene. I mean,
it's one of my favorite amendments.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who use it, but it's just like the amount of airtime, I guess you would say, that it gets in conversation is little, which is surprising because I think it's a pretty important input that most organic farmers should be considering.
Totally, yeah. It's like the missing link in a lot of grows, because it's like it protects your plant without you having to like constantly add amendments to it. It's like it'll boost their immune system, which, you know, ties into like the trichome production. It's just.
And why is that? Because that's often said about the, you know, chitin is basically what people say. Why is that improving the plant vigor, the plant health? Why is it beneficial? Because it's a pretty expensive product. Why does that benefit the plants?
It produces an immune system response in the plant, which you know, when their immune system's healthy, then their like trichome production, it's tied into the immune system. So like your plants just frost up like no tomorrow.
I've done super souls without in the beginning of the early days without insect frass, and then I've done my super soul now with insect frass, and I can see a complete, like or not complete, but just a big difference in trichome production, and using that in my super souls.
Word.
Well,
more trichomes overall. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Stan.
I was just gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong, but it triggers like a minor stress response in the plant.
Yeah.
The chitinase.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the minor stress response is just kind of like other environmental factors that we can manipulate to increase yield and trichome productions, like for example, low stress training. You know, you bend a branch over, you get the lateral branches to go vertical, and you've got more tops. You know, that's a pretty basic way to explain it, but this is like by triggering the plant's stress response with the chitinase, it's like telling the plant, I really gotta, you know, push. I really gotta get these trichome heads pushed out all over, because it thinks it has bugs all over it, essentially.
Yeah.
So, or at least that was my understanding of it. It essentially thinks that it has bugs on it from the chitinase, and that's, you know, in the evolutionary aspect of it, when plants got infested with bugs, they would have a lot of dead bugs around them, and that would break down into the soil, and then the seedlings would grow up in that soil full of chitin and be more resistant to future infestations for that genotype. And another thing it helps with is warding off pests, because you make your plant smell like a fucking bug graveyard to them. They're like, holy shit, this, I got a lot of dead friends here. And it supposedly or theoretically, I'm not a scientist, but yeah, I've done some research into frass since I use it. So I wanted to understand all the aspects behind it, but it's kind of like a warding for bugs to stay away from it, because there's a lot of dead bugs here, or a lot of chitin and hormones that would trigger a response from an infestation.
So that's that's what people allege, or that's what people say, I should say.
Yeah.
I spent a few days in the courtroom today, not as a defendant or anything. So I heard all about like alleged stuff. Anyway, I guess I was going to say, to play devil's advocate, a lot of frass, frankly, has been shown to not have a high microbial content. By the way, I don't think the bubbling thing shows. I think you could put soap in the water and it would bubble a lot. I don't think that would make it microbial, but I'm super open if that's wrong. What was I going to say? With the frass, we've talked to a couple people in our chat. I know, well, I can only think of the one, so I won't shout him out by himself, but a couple people in our chat make frass, and they themselves have done kind of tests to see which frasses are actually more, whatever, they have nutrients or more microbial activity. A lot of the white frasses are alleged in corporate testing, state testing, and also, our friends in the chat testing, to basically just be bug exoskeletons and not even so-called essentially the garbage at the bottom of the beds, not really the frass that you want, not the composted bug manure, stuff like that, but really just like legs and shells and stuff from the stuff that they're eating. So essentially kind of sort of what you want, but not really. Whereas people in our chat, St. Bernard's, he does black soldier fly frass. So I guess where I'm going with all this is, I'm not going to name out that a couple different brands. They've been shown by like the Oregon Department of Agriculture to have like low microbial content, low to no detectable chitin. Why is one frass better than the other? Obviously your frass is probably excellent. So why is your frass better? Why does it have chitin? Why does it have a high microbial content? What sets yours apart as opposed to the shit on the store shelf that I can go to the grocery store today and pay $25 for whatever small bag and it's garbage? Do you know what I'm talking about? We're not going to name that brand, but
yeah. So superworms, the amount of gut bacteria that they have is just higher than any other bugs. There's been numerous tests that show that they can degrade styrofoam into.
And what is a superworm, by the way?
Oh, it's a beetle. It's a darkling beetle called Zephyrus moria, and yeah, the certain bacteria that they have in their stomach is enough to be able to degrade styrofoam and turn it back into an organic material.
Wow.
So they're just like insane decomposers. Yeah, the fact that I think, what is,
it's like some mycology shit, some mycelium stuff that breaks down a fucking pile of just nasty oil, debris of plastic shit.
yeah,
Well,
totally.
fungal threads are made of chitin, right? So if it is a high frass or a high chitin frass, then it's going to be basically chitin of fungal food too.
Yeah.
When you speak of that too. Absolutely.
Yeah, the one notable bacteria is called like Klebsiella pneumoniae. Is like this bacteria that when it comes into contact with soil, just like instantly starts like degrading and producing like.
There's a lot of questions in chat about superworm beetle. Can we go back over? Is superworm a beetle? And
Yeah, it's a
the name.
larva of a beetle. Yep.
Someone was asking the name of the beetle, or I guess it's just superworm.
The name of the beetle is Zephoros moria.
Bam.
How do they differ from, you know, we're not, most of us are not entomologists. How does it differ from a black soldier fly? Is it completely intelligent, like cats and dogs, or is it somewhat similar? Or do you know?
Yeah, black soldier fly, or is higher in protein, but it's definitely lower in chitin, and I don't think their bacteria that they have is like as
Styrofoam eating.
Yeah.
How'd you stumble upon them? I don't remember if you said.
What's up?
How did you stumble upon those as opposed to something else? Did you go through testing, or I don't know?
Just it was by chance. I started working in a farm that was growing superworms, so I worked in the superworm department and took the frass home, threw it on my garden, and I had like 13-foot tall tomato trees or tomato plants. So like I knew that it was good, but the more I researched it, the like my suspicions were confirmed.
And how do you actually use it? Because I mean, I'm sure even your product is fairly expensive. It always is kind of expensive. What's the best, most effective, let's say the cheapest method, or let's say most cost-effective method, but then also if you don't really have a budget, what's the best method to use it?
So most cost-effective is definitely in teas, because you can do 2 tablespoons per gallon, and yeah, it would make a few pound bag last a long time. But top dressing is my favorite way to use it. It's super easy. You just put like a few tablespoons around the base of every plant.
Is there such thing as too much?
I've never come across that threshold, and my friend put like a quart, like a quart on each of his plant, and that didn't push it over the edge. There's no like wilting from like over fertilization, and it's a low 2-2-2 balanced fertilizer anyway. So,
and all the nitrogen stuff should be basically like was it ammonia? Anyway, slow release. Basically, all the nutrients will be there, slow release. So it's not like you're going to burn your plants that way.
No, definitely not. And that bacteria I was mentioning earlier is a good nitrogen fixer too in your soil.
And you mentioned with compost teas, I do that with black soldier fly. I think that's a wonderful idea. What kind of a compost tea are you talking about? Because a lot of the people in chat don't really do that. Are you talking about a compost tea that you just basically shake in for 20 minutes and then pour off, or a 12-hour tea, or what's your favorite way to use it basically?
12 to 24-hour tea usually, but yeah, you could root drench it too if you wanted. Take it up for like half hour, an hour. You'd get some like anaerobic action, but it would be beneficial.
Do you have any hemp farmers that are using your products?
Yeah, lots of hemp farmers.
Nice.
Aren't use it, yeah, for sure.
Sweet. And so do they have an issue at scale getting field applications, or are they using it more in like a tea?
No, they use it at scale. It'd be like 200 pounds per acre would be a good starting place for sure.
Okay. Do you have any like documentation to support the application rates per acre?
How do you mean?
Like, do you have anything that says like at 200 pounds an acre we saw X results or anything like that? It could be anecdotal too, like pictures and shit.
Yeah, I have pictures for sure. Yeah, but I mean I could
too new for that
information, but
I'd be interested in looking at it because I got tons of guys who, they pride themselves on the fact that they're like USDA organic certified farms, and they're always looking for high quality inputs.
Word, yeah, it's definitely approved for organic use.
Dave,
Go ahead,
I was just gonna say, Dave, I put links in the YouTube chat and in the Zoom chat for the superworms he was talking about and the bacteria.
Thank you, Stabby.
Word, that's awesome.
I was gonna screen share them, but I can't. It seems like I don't have screen sharing permissions on.
For some reason, Stabby, I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix that setting. I was just talking to earlier. My settings on that is I can't get that screen sharing to come up. So sorry, I don't have that option. But if you want to share that, I can mod you up in chat, and then if you want to share it in the chat, would that work?
I already posted links in the chat, but
Oh,
it
you
looks
did?
like you
Okay.
don't. It looks like you don't have links.
Yeah, I don't
turned
have
on.
the share on here. Yeah, sorry about
Tara
that.
is just sabotaging the Embracing Organic show.
Yeah, I didn't want you to share, Stabby.
Nobody wants Stabby to share.
I tried, guys.
Sit down.
Sorry, guys. I'll try better next time.
Yeah,
I'll
just
give
check
you
out-
a-
Intentions aren't wanted
Check
here.
out Frass Valley's Instagram page.
I just
And-
dropped it in the chat there for everybody.
Yeah, go follow him on Instagram, guys. Go follow this guy up and check him out. He's got some beautiful pictures. I was checking it out earlier.
Word. Yep, it's just at Frass Valley.
So, Frass Valley, since you're doing a lot of deliveries, I'm expecting your clientele is a bunch of, like, I'm guessing hempish farmers, or that what type of farmers are buying bulk grass?
What's
It'd be kind of rare to see a bunch of weed farmers. I feel up in New England right now buying as like 200 or 100 pounds.
It's mainly like cannabis farmers in New England, but yeah, hemp farmers are starting to catch on too.
Okay, so it is hemp, or it is weed farmers up in New England buying your product.
Yeah, primarily, yeah.
Nice. Okay, I would have thought the whole way. I would have thought a different way and thought like a field of farmers or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to be in contact with you definitely. I might want to pick up 100 pounds to experiment with.
Yeah.
So your next load, do you just like randomly get a bunch of orders in and then make a big trip like you did out west to me, or do you like have a routine?
At this point, I've been like, stacking like different states every few months. So, Colorado's a little far.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But I can ship definitely if you wanted more than 50 pounds, which is the largest thing on my website. I can hook anyone up with better pricing for larger orders. Shipping and everything.
I just didn't know how many times you come out west a year.
Oh, I mean, this was my first trip out west.
Right.
But,
Well, hopefully it was beneficial to you and you'll want to do it again.
oh yeah, it was fun, man. I had a good time.
Those are some nice looking lobster mushrooms, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just out on a farm yesterday, and I found a bunch of them popping up under some 3-needle pine.
Oh, word, yeah. Yeah, they love pine trees. Are you talking about those mushrooms in the story?
I just saw them. I was scrolling down your Instagram feed.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Your page.
I just let's get ton of chickens today.
Dave, for the love of God, mute your microphone.
Sorry, I thought I was muted. I'm so sorry.
Fucking Dave.
Fuck me.
I couldn't figure out who that was. I was like, shit, who is that?
Dave's multitasking.
I was just peeing over here. I'm sorry.
Way to go. Damn.
Mushrooms.
Oh wait, here, let
Oh,
me.
nice.
Are you Sean? Let me pin your video up here. Spotlight video. There you go.
I know something everybody needs. So that's what type of you got there?
Those are some chicken of the woods that I found earlier.
Yum! Look at you. You get to go out randomly and just pick up mushrooms. What the hell?
That is a spot up there for mushrooms. That's where I found my first Amanita with Dirtman Dan.
Word. Yeah. Here's a bag of the frass if anyone wanted to see. And I don't know if you can see, but it's super granular, no powder or anything like that. 100% pure.
Yeah, that's nice. I typically use a Vortex brewer, and that would go through my Vortex brewer perfectly.
Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
man.
Because I don't even mess with compost tea bags anymore. I just throw my stuff right in the brewer. Some alfalfa or some kelp. A handful of worm castings because I make my own worm castings.
Nice.
And
and
you could do straight up teas instead of top dressing. with it.
Yeah, like I'll feed like a frickin' slurry to my plants sometimes if I can keep it moving in the bucket. If it doesn't plug the vortex, then yeah, it'll go on there because I have the living soil beds, so anything I put on there that's organic matter, all of the worms in the beds are gonna work through it anyway.
Yeah, I'll scoop that muck out and top dress with it, man. It just looks like good shit. Like,
Oh yeah.
It's good humus material and
Yep.
a lot of microbes and stuff in there. You just want to make sure that you don't brew it too long and brew any hostile microbes like streptococcus or anything like that. You don't want a bloom of bad microbes in your tea. And typically a good indication of that is if it smells bad, like it's gone anaerobic.
So your boy Roy Boy, a longtime friend of the show, friend of Tara's, friend of the Embracing Organics show too, is asking, what's it good for? What's Frass good for in a nutshell? And I think that's an excellent question. We can ask the host. We can say, like, just as a broad overview, he said it already in the show, but to simplify, what is it good for that vermicompost isn't good for, that something else isn't good for? There were a couple things, but I guess if you were to just sell to your boy Roy Boy again, what is it good for? I would say, in a nutshell, actually, it's not even some of the stuff that we said before. It's not even the nutritive value. It's a 222 or whatever. That's cool. It's a nice little food, whatever. It's really good for the compost tea and stuff. But we haven't even mentioned it's good for the compost tea because it's got all the little like trophic layers that are above the microbes. They basically eat the microbes and then poop out the microbes that they ate. And that stuff is the actual plant food. And I've read anyway, that that's the stuff that you really want to cultivate. It's easy to make a microbe tea, but it's difficult to make a tea with all the stuff that eats the microbes. And that's where Frass really shines. Is that wrong? Would you say it a different way?
No, definitely. Yeah, it's the chitin degrading bacteria which makes
You think so
Frass,
too? Right.
as prolific of a nutrient as
Right.
it is. Yeah.
And you said, I mean, that's right. The chitin, I don't even know the names. There's probably a bunch of them. But the chitin, whatever. You said it better than I did. There we go. And then the styrofoam. If you have any styrofoam in the soil, I wouldn't recommend it. But how do you think that the styrofoam bacteria would interact with a typical organic grow, let's say?
Oh, well, we don't feed them styrofoam, but I've heard that it tests the same as like, Frass that was given like a completely organic diet. Apparently, like their gut flora is like that powerful that it'll degrade it into totally organic food again.
Also, you're not
it's just
putting
a carbon chain, right? Styrofoam is just a bunch of carbon in a weird fucking configuration.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
You're just adding carbon if they can break it down.
Polystyrene. Okay. But another thing is you're not putting the worms on your cannabis garden, right? We're just putting their poop on there.
Just the Frass. It's no extra.
Are we gonna start?
Frass is all their shit.
Are we going to start top dressing with styrofoam now? Is that the new week 6 bloom booster?
Yeah,
I guess if you got super worms in your bed.
Boxes.
Yeah.
Okay,
But,
so there
I
is
had
a
a question.
Oh, there is a question in chat. It's how often do you apply it? Did you guys go over that yet?
Well, I was going to ask how often he applied it and how
There
he
you go.
applies it, because I was curious if he does any foliar sprays with his Frass. Because that's one thing I've never done is, and I know a lot of people will do a foliar spray and veg with a compost tea or a vermicompost tea or a Frass, but I've never been brave enough to just hose my plants down with bug poop.
Yeah, it definitely adds nutrients to it early in the morning. Like you run it in,
because you can get it straight through that transdermal layer.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, but it works nice as a foliar, and I would recommend, every week to like 10 days to reapply a top dress during veg and flower, and then run an occasional tea, and you would be golden. As far as application rates go, yeah.
I think I was doing the INSECT FRASS once every 3 weeks. But I was also like rotating in other microbial populations. Like I was using my vermicompost tea 1 week, maybe like just a straight amendment tea 1 week, maybe a frass tea the next week. Maybe if I'm short on time or something, I just do a quick tea with recharge and throw some of that in there. You know, I like to keep a healthy, beneficial microbial population that's like cycling and not just the same type of microbes, using it over and over again. Like I could never do the whole, like a cocoa grow with just mammoth pea or something in there. You know what I mean? I like to get a party going.
So, did you already bring up the fact that the insect frass actually like can detour other bugs from coming on and attacking, right? It can scare other ones off, right? Did someone mention that earlier in chat? I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, totally. It makes like your soil like a inhospitable place for other bugs to propagate. So yeah, it definitely, like if you do like a compost tea and then a top dress like right after that, if you're having like a fungal gnat problem, they'll start like moving off pretty soon after that.
I mean, it's logical, right? Like we probably, people have heard this before. We probably said it on the show before that it's a bug graveyard or whatever. But you're like, oh, well, why is that? Well, when you think about, let's say, most of the bugs that we're bothered by, the bugs that bother us in cannabis, not the soil bugs that do like soil things, those are actually good, right? Or at least if you're in organics, those are good. We're talking about white flies, thrips, spider mites, russet mites, all that kind of stuff. We don't want them in the soil anyway. And those things, they find food based on, you know, their evolved patterns. They look for stuff that their parents and grandparents, whatever, looked for. And so, for example, in our case, they're going to be looking for juicy, sweet tasting or whatever, wonderful cannabis. And we want them to think that our cannabis is god fucking awful in any way possible. So, for example, a lot of people will use neem, and they use it systemically, so the plant actually stinks and reeks of neem. And neem famously just fucking reeks to bugs. But, you know, some people think that maybe neem makes weed reek too. So there's other things you can use. So you make the soil stink like a graveyard. What's that graveyard? That's basically old russet mite corpses, they think, or old whitefly corpses, they think. That's where we're trying to trick them into believing, basically, so they kind of stay away. Is that wrong, or is that more or less right?
Yeah, that's true. And, you know, if you up the chitin degrading bacteria in your soil, then like, you know, bugs that land on your soil, like it'll be like those chitin degrading bacteria would like start eating their exoskeletons because they're essentially made of chitin. So they, you know, any bugs that are in the soil will like start to, you know, be eaten alive pretty much.
Do you think that's effective? Because I've heard, you know, that's been the sales pitch on a few different frasses or whatever. I may have even, you know, let's allegedly bought some. Do you think that actually works? Do the bugs essentially start to dissolve slowly, or does it sting at least? Is it just an inhospitable place for them?
Yeah, it makes them uncomfortable, and they'll like move off to like try to find a more, you know,
somewhere that doesn't have that.
Correct. Yeah. So if you apply it, you'd want to apply it to all your plants at the same time. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got a question from Teo. Is there different kinds of chitin? Does crab meal contain it?
Yeah, crab meal contains chitin, and there's marine chitin, although...
Chitin. I said chitin.
Yeah.
Chitlins. Chitlins and gravy.
Hey, don't feel bad. That's the way I was saying it too. I was reading it. Chitlins, right off the fuck.
I swear you said chitlins. That's why I followed you. It's your fault. See? Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. But marine, even though it might have higher, some like lobster is like maybe upwards of 20% chitin. And so, but it doesn't contain any of the degrading bacteria in it. So even though it's higher in chitin, the chitin is not as it degrades like way slower. It's a slow release.
And to be fair, like again, to play devil's advocate or whatever, Build a Soil for the longest time, years ago, they did recommend frass, and then they kind of switched away from it when some of the tests kind of indicated that it was low in the microbial count, low in the protozoas, and all that kind of stuff. And then they started to, I can't think of the name right now. Optived, I don't remember. There's a product that they sell that they think it's probably derived from soy or something that he says is filled with much more chitin, but we're taking his word for that too. Have you had yours tested or how?
Yeah, mine is tested. I think, yeah, OptiVeg and mine might be the only two that are tested chitin products. But OptiVeg is good. I think theirs is derived from mealworms, which are in the same family as superworms. So they have they don't have the same bacteria in their gut, but they have like something similar. So
I know at least a couple people, if they might be lurking, but one dude for sure. I've seen it on his grow shelf. He has the OptiVeg. So, for example, if you want a diversity of microbes, you might throw both of them in, right? Yeah. You might use half and half. I mean, I think those are probably a wonderful couple products to use.
Totally, yeah. My buddy in Rhode Island uses both together, and I think he does daily teas on some of his younger plants, and like the root mass on those things is out of this world.
And one of the biggest reasons why Build a Soil was selling the OptiVeg was not even all the SAR, the plant response, the stress response, all that stuff was just to build fungus, to build mycorrhiza. Like you spend a bunch of money inoculating your soil with this mycorrhiza. It takes a long time. Well, apparently you can supercharge that because chitin is basically fungus food. Yeah,
it's made of the same material essentially, so it's extremely beneficial to like boost like ecto and endomycorrhizal connections in your soil and your roots.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks like we got a pest in the garden.
Yep.
Little kitty cat.
Troll done rolled over.
Oh, nice to just show up after we.
Well, yeah, if you would have been here, you guys all wouldn't have been here on my live tonight. Dan, you let us down. They tried to get the show going. It was your fault.
Yes, we've got a loyal following. I mean, when was the
Nasi had like 6 people yelling at him for fucking 40 minutes trying to get it going. It was like a nightmare.
Very true.
Literally.
Very
click
fucking
that.
true.
Refresh it.
Press
Sign
this.
now.
No, press that. No, press that now.
There.
Fucking click this one, you retard.
Hey, we got to try everybody's method. Everybody got to try what they wanted, and it didn't work.
Gotta say, we all, respectfully pitched our ideas, and you gave it a good college effort, and I think it went pretty well for what we had.
Yeah, my theory is you can only go live on Zoom once a day. And I pushed that button alone by myself at a very early stage, and I wasn't ready.
He was a little trigger happy, huh?
Dan showed up and I started sneezing.
You're allergic to my BS? I better get out of here then. All right,
could be it, dude. Stick around. Oh, he left. That was quick, too.
Okay, so I do have to say, Tanasi, it actually might not be that because actually Potent Ponics announced tonight that he couldn't have a show because they had a power outage. So maybe it could be a Zoom outage. I don't know.
I mean, you watched me. It's 3 fucking clicks of a button and you're live, and you saw it.
I watched you fuck it up.
I told you I tried to start my own private stream and didn't work.
I'll do it, Dad.
If you guys have ever seen a monkey fuck a football, that's really a lot what it looked like.
Yeah.
No, a monkey fucking a football gets angry. I kept it cool.
Listen, I'm sure that was actually a lot more fun to watch.
Have we even asked what everybody's puffing on tonight?
No.
Well, what the hell?
I haven't heard it.
I'm puffing on Stabby's mango orange something or other.
That's the ones that don't give you death, right?
Yeah, no, I'm still alive after fucking 4 bottles of this shit.
Remember the ones that don't give you the death, right?
Okay, so do we want to talk about that for a minute? Because I know exactly what
I would
That's how uneducated I am about this whole nicotine thing. I just oh man, this vaping stuff's killing people.
Nah, it was contaminated THC cards from some fuckwad in fucking Wisconsin. Doling out 7,000 carts a day, and instead of using PG as emulsifier, use vitamin E acetate like a dick.
Yeah.
And I guess that
give you
company, or at least one
popcorn lung or something like that?
Well, vitamin E acetate is pretty common in products, but mostly for oral consumption, like not inhaling it. So body processes it normally. But when you put that in your lungs, it coats the inside of your lungs, and it prevents the cationic exchange from occurring, and it kills the cellular material, and you basically are killing your lungs from the inside out. I mean, those guys, the people that have died, they went to the hospital, and there was nothing short of putting them on like ECMO that would have kept them going. And it's unfortunate, but that's, yeah, the way it is.
Essentially what that's from is from black market carts that were made wrong. And the thing is, the people who are in the nicotine vape industry, the manufacturers in this industry, have known forever now that you cannot use that fucking shit in the vape products. It's been banned since forever, since before the FDA even came into play. That shit was on the fucking ban list for making vapor products. Even on every fucking DIY site there was out there, it said, hey, don't use anything with this acetate in it. And there was even warnings about certain chemicals that will crack your tank if you're using a ceramic tank and not a glass tank. You know, this stuff has been known for years, and it's just dipshits that are doing stuff black market style with zero regard for their customers or anyone who might consume this stuff, and they don't give a fuck. And a big part of the problem is that things are still, you know, in the black and gray market. I know we've got a lot of friends out there that survive that way. I get it. I hope you're responsible, and I hope you have some fucking consideration for your fellow man with the products that you're making, and you don't spray your shit with, you know, don't spray your flowers with Avid or whatever, you know.
You don't want Eagle 20 buds?
Yeah. So
somebody in the chat actually last week was like, "What's wrong with Eagle 20, bro?" And actually, that's something we should probably bring up every once in a while.
Yeah, there's a lot
when
of
you put it on a
things.
tomato because you eat it and it goes through your liver and everything. It's probably not fine, but it's at least acceptable. But when you smoke it, it turns into cyanide, so it's a completely different thing. It becomes an actual poison. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a direct correlation with what's going on with these black market carts and the additives that they're using to cut them with. If I ever get a black market cart, I'm only getting it from a guy that I fucking know, and if it's gonna be like a live plant, you know, full plant extract or something like that, you know what I mean? It's not gonna be cut with anything but terpenes.
Right. And see, I think in this particular case, the super unfortunate fact is that a lot of the affected people are young teenagers, you know, high school age young kids. And that's because this guy out of Wisconsin was, I mean, his packaging was like, you know, Sour Patch Kids. I mean, it was blatant, just going towards that clientele. And again, zero disregard for the end user and the health implications that could have on them. But that, I think that's why this is garnering so much media attention too. Is just that it's affecting predominantly high school aged youth over fucking, you know, the adults who everyone's kind of like, oh, you know, you can do whatever you want. It's your body, you can do what you want. But when it comes to kids, it's a completely different story.
But plain and simple, until they get it to where you can go down and you can buy tested product from a legal place that you know that it's okay for good prices. I went down. I was able to buy this. 1 gram of each. One gram was $30. The other gram was $40. Until people have access to that, the shit's going to continue to happen, and it's going to be sad.
Well, there's still ways for those guys to slip in because they get the professional packaging and stuff like that. You know, like these kind of look like they came off the boat from China, but like
that's what I'm saying. Until you can go in your store and you know that your store got them from a legit place.
Yeah, exactly.
And they make them easy enough for everybody to get. This is just what's going to happen.
Well,
it's really sad.
And with the current administration wanting to ban flavored juices, all that's going to do is just create another black market for guys to make flavored juices and sell them on the internet or to friends or on the low. I mean, like I'm kind of dumbfounded as to how the administration doesn't have enough, you know, forward thinking to see that being a problem. I just don't get it. And I agree with you, Terry, too. It's got to get to the point. Yeah, see, like, look, right, you know, Jeff's holding up all that good stuff. Everything needs to be labeled. I mean, you need to have analysis, certificates of analysis, terpene profiles, cannabinoid profiles, all that stuff. And if you go and buy a cart, I'm sorry, but if you go and buy a cart and it doesn't have anything, any legal packaging on it, you know, you're taking a risk.
And all for convenience, you know, like if you're in an illegal state, I guess, what is it, the convenience maybe? Because that's certainly what mostly people buy it here. Maybe they don't know how to smoke the weed or whatever else, but a lot of times it's really just people who already have a bong and a rig and whatever else. And they're like, well, you know, when I'm out and about or at a party or whatever the case, they just want to have a quick puff. And so they buy the cart just to be easy. Well, why are you buying that in Pennsylvania or wherever it is that you are, that you're not even allowed to do it in public? Why would you bother with something that is probably Chinese poison wrapped on some kind of other poison? It just doesn't seem logical.
It's the mentality.
For one, on education. I really believe it's on education. I really believe it. Look how many people get scammed anyways, on a regular on shit anyways.
Yeah, there's a lot of not just ignorant people out there, and not ignorant to be like rude people, but ignorant as in they just don't know better. They don't know better.
They think people are honest. They think people are honest.
Yeah. And not just that, but not just getting bamboozled, but just being completely unaware because it's things that aren't talked about in their area because they're taboo. You know, it's
oh, dude, absolutely. And like, just to go along with what Tara was saying, one, like you're saying, it's taboo. Nobody talks about it. Two, everybody's so uneducated. They think that, you know, the next guy is just going to be as educated as they are, and everybody's just nice. It's not how it happens once money gets involved.
Well, you have your bullshit artists out there too, which thrive in those places because they act like they know everything, and they're like, "Oh yeah, man, this is legit. You'll be fine. You know, this is the good stuff," and that, you know, they make that sale, and
the thing about bullshit artists is that they are indistinguishable from experts to the noobs. So in other words, if you don't have the context, if you don't understand the issue, if you don't know how to learn about the issue, if you don't know even what steps you're going to take to get good at that issue, you'll never be able to tell who's bullshitting you and who's not bullshitting you. And that's one reason why I've said that shows like ours are important. That's how I learned a lot of stuff, by using a bullshit filter to cut through like a knife all the fucking nonsense, the blurple LEDs and all the weird fucking bloom boosting garbage.
Can I borrow your bullshit filter?
Well, that's what we're trying to do right here, Dan. Thanks for coming back, by the way.
Dan, I got a bridge to sell you.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, for real, if you wouldn't know that it was a bridge. You wouldn't know that it was bullshit. I mean, like before the internet, people got bamboozled all the fucking time.
All day.
People now too, but at least now we have a chance to help each other. A lot of us are still going to get fucked in some way. That's just life. But maybe we can help each other out. Tune in. You know, if we're wrong.
Hey,
on
that's
something,
a good point. That's a good point. And people need to. It's not narking on people. It's just stepping up and doing the right thing. I'm sorry.
Because I'm wrong on stuff sometimes, for real. Like when you talk, sometimes weird shit comes out of your mouth you didn't mean to say, or maybe you didn't understand an issue well enough, or maybe you just misspoke, or maybe you're fucking wrong and you don't understand. There's a million ways that you can be wrong about an issue, and at least I like to think that I'm adult enough to admit when I'm wrong. So if we ever are wrong about something, please call us out on it, because we don't want to continue some nonsense. We don't want to keep saying that you should flush your organic plants, because that's fucking garbage, and we don't want to have fucking garbage. We do this for free. This is a volunteer fun thing that we do just for giggles. So we're not going to sit here and bullshit you. At least I'm not going to. I don't think anyone else is. So that's the end of my rant. Sorry.
That was a good rant.
Can you guys see that shit?
Good. Makes me feel good to hear you say those words, Fumador.
This is a giant greenhouse with about 100 fucking blurples for supplemental lighting. I see that shit and it hurts my fucking heart. Like,
it hurt your eyes too. I would hope.
There's a giant one. Yeah, man. There's a giant one up in Canada that's got a bunch of blurples hanging in it that just glows fucking like a spaceship out there.
Okay, so
this is glowing purple.
So I have a question, like for new people in my chat, because there's a lot of new people that might not have seen you guys tonight. Why does it hurt your eyes? We have never talked lights on my channel ever. Why does the purple lights hurt your eyes? Why are you saying that? Why does it hurt you?
Well, because your eyes are evolved, like anybody else's eyes are evolved for daylight sunlight. You know, like when we walk into a fluorescent room, it's kind of weird for our eyes sometimes. Some
No,
people
but why
don't
is
get
Black
bothered. But
Cell pointing this out? Though?
That's the obvious reason why it hurts. The more painful reason for the growers is because we know that they just spent a bunch of money on lights that aren't going to do what they expect it to do. It's not going to live up to their expectation. They're not going to get the performance from the plants, but they're going to spend every bit of electricity and energy and time that they put into it, but not get the results they expect.
So those lights cost about 5 or 6 times more than double-ended 1000-watt HPS, and they are usually slightly less efficient. So they're just a massive waste of money.
Has anybody else noticed? Everybody that grows with those, like the blurples or like the multicolored LEDs, they get these like real skeletal-looking plants with this just teeny tiny little buds on them and just gigantic internode spacing.
And when they post on Instagram, they're always macro photos.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's a lack of intensity. The light's just not putting out the power that it's supposed to be. And yeah, it's the marketing is just full of fucking lies.
Yeah,
like
not to mention the false advertising where they say 300 and it pulls 120.
And there again, more misunfortunate on the person that's not knowledgeable enough to this stuff and just trying to go out and believe somebody and gonna get ripped off.
At least they didn't get their lungs burnt out.
I was gonna say I'm gonna wrap that back around. I'm gonna spin that back around to the vape pen controversy and the vaping thing. The part that sucks about it is there's always going to be a fucking customer for a shitty light and a shitty vape pen. If I showed up at a party right now and everybody in this room, I walked in and I went, "You want to hit this?" Everybody would consider it. You'd be like, yeah, I do. I want to get high with you, but I'm a little bit afraid. And most of us, we would fucking hit it.
Yeah.
Tara's already shaking back and forth going, I want to hit it now. Just because you
if
pointed
it was
it at
one
me.
of my friends and I knew where they got it, most of my friends, I know where they get it, right? So like, I'm good with that. But like, if it's
everyone
a complete
starts somewhere,
stranger
though,
right now, hell no, I'm not going to hit
But
it.
like everyone starts somewhere, right? Everyone has an entry level.
You're right.
And like
right.
it, and I'm not saying like gateway to anything, but I'm saying you don't know what you like until you try it, and you don't know what good from bad until you learn.
Experience both.
Yeah.
But going back to what you guys were saying earlier, dude, there really is always a market for like a crappy product. Like perfect example, probably like 2 months ago, I was over at the barber shop getting my hair cut, and I'm out front.
Me too.
Yeah. And
That explains a lot.
I'm out front talking to one of the guys that's in there. He's smoking a cigarette, and I just had to step out to stretch my legs. And then we get on to the topic of obviously the cartridges. And he pulls one out and he's like, "Yo, you want to try it?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "But you said you smoke." He's like, you get cartridges." He's like, "Here, hit it." I'm like, "No, I'm good." He's like, and he looked at me like, "What's your problem, bro?" And I'm like, "Dude," I was like, "I don't know where that came from." I was like, "It more than likely came from somebody's moldy ass basement." I was like, "I don't want concentrated mold in my lungs. I'm sorry." And he
How
was.
do you make that situation not snooty?
Dude,
I've had that situation. Probably everyone in this chat,
and literally
knows exactly what you're talking about. No, I don't want to.
Literally, right
but it's
as
your
that
buddy
came
or
out of my
whatever.
mouth, right as that came out of my mouth, I was like, "I'm not trying to be a douchebag." I was like, "I'm just more informed." I was like, "I know where these things come from." I was like, "And it's scary what they put in some of these things." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, bro." He's like, "It tastes great." He's like, "It tastes like strawberries." I'm like, "No."
Is that the best way to engage that? Like, could you make that a learning experience, or are you better off just kind of leaving it and trying to walk away as quietly as possible?
I make it a learning experience.
The way I do it,
I think it's a case by case.
I offer mine. If you come up to me and like I'm at an event, I've got a booth. A lot of people interact with me. A lot of people want to dab me out. It's like a thing, it's like wanting to take a shot with Doug Stanhope or whatever. You just want to take a dab with Rasta Jeb. So they show up and they unwrap their parchment and this black mucky shit comes out. And I look at it like, oh, I have to dab that. My usual response is, here, try some of this, buddy. And I just offer them a dab of mine, and totally my personality is I'm able to redirect a conversation. I could just take your thunder and just turn it around. And now we're dabbing my concentrates. You forgot you even brought some. That's how I do it. And then That way I don't have to dab your doo-doo and you just got a dab of my goodness. And then you're so stoned you forgot. And then everybody feels happy. That's how I usually do it. So if you hand me a pen and I'm afraid of it, I'll just pass you mine and then kind of hold on to yours while you hit mine. And then I'll give you yours back. That's how I avoid the crap.
Oh, no, you won't, bro. I won't let you do that. I'm going to sit there and be like, hey, man, you going to hit that fucking pen?
Bro, I'll hit your pen, bro.
Yeah, we've all hung out with Tanazi. He'll fucking sit there and watch you do it and watch your reaction.
Walking through downtown Denver just randomly, and fucking I hear this southern drawl coming out of nowhere, and I was like, what the fuck? I know that voice. And he jumps out in front of me. Hey, man, you got a reefer on you? You want to smoke a joint? My friend had no idea who Tanasi was, and he's like, look at all these weirdos want to be your friend.
So it is pretty easy to pass it off if you're going around a circle, because most people sit there and they hand you a joint and they're like talking, da da da. No one's paying attention if you're really hitting it. And if you just keep passing it, they never notice, because believe me, I pass a lot of joints.
I watch that shit, Tara. I'm watching you.
I do it. I do it.
And look at it, and I'm gonna be like, why are you looking at it?
Like that YouTube video of that guy who like he's at the concert. You guys like, you want to smoke? He's like, yeah, man, cool. Yeah, all right, here you go. He does it like 5 times.
All you gotta do is say, you know what, I kind of got a cold. There you go.
I got herpes. You don't want to hit that after me.
Yeah.
Nobody will give it to you again.
Your boy Roy Boy said that in his chat. He was like, oh man, what a time for my cold sore to come in handy.
Yeah. What I love about the vape pens is allegedly, possibly, when you go to a concert, when they search you, nowadays you go through a metal detector and you set your wallet and your phone and your keys in that thing like you're going to the airport.
You drop that bad boy right in there.
Set them all in there. Yeah, I put fucking multiple vape pens in there, and he looked at me like, really, motherfucker? And I was like, let's do it. It's going to be a long night. And he's like, okay. Just sent him right on through.
They make it every time.
Yep, every time. He didn't care. Because he's going to have to hit it to know that that's the terp sauce.
That's too funny. Hey, so I know you guys had Frass Valley as your guests on here tonight. Did you guys want to talk to him or ask him any more questions tonight? And does he want to stay out and hang out for a little bit longer, or do you guys normally let your guests go? I don't know. I'm letting you guys run this show.
Yeah,
here.
well, it just gets weird after a while. He can stay if he wants.
Okay, Frass Valley, are you good with hanging out, or did you want to get the hell out of here?
He's muted. See,
You're muted.
He's muted.
There, I unmuted you. Oh, now there you go.
Yeah, no, I'm fine hanging out.
Okay, cool. I would love for you to hang out. I just didn't want to keep you hanging up if you had family or something you had to get to.
No, all good.
Okay, cool.
While we have you on the line, Tara is very much into regenerative agriculture. That's the far end of, I mean, you could call it hippie, but I mean, it is. I mean, they make their own nutrients. They make their own nutrients oftentimes from the shit that they find around them, herbs and spices and whatever. And the weed comes out ultra fucking dank. On the other hand, we have not less dank, but salty. Rasta Jeff, a lot of people in our chat use synthetics. Can you use Frass on all of those, or can you only really use it on organics? Or, for example, you mentioned earlier you can foliar. Could you foliar a synthetic grow and maybe get a little bit of best of both worlds?
Yeah, I think you can. I've heard of maybe a few growers mixing the two. I mean, but yeah,
Dave, you're unmuted.
Works well as both.
The dude is a synganic grower. The dude is all about the synganics, remember?
Yeah, that's what he's been hyping up.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Could you repeat what you said?
Yeah, it works as you could do a combination salt and organics. I've heard that works. I've never tried it because I don't use salts, but it should work.
And so you haven't used it, so I guess we're kind of speculating. But if we had to speculate, then how would you use your product effectively? How would you try to be cost effective and time effective and everything else?
Time effective, top dressing, and as I said, I think earlier, like teas would definitely get the most out of your money, most bang for your buck there.
And so let's say, for example, go ahead.
I was going to say maybe mix in, just do a tea. If I do a Monday and Wednesday feeding, maybe do a tea on Tuesday or something, just to add some Frass in there, just to boost it up.
Totally, yeah. Getting that bacteria in your soil is only going to help.
If I'm a cocoa grower, how long is that Frass going to stick around and benefit me?
Yeah, I want to know.
it'll completely leave the soil within like 6 months.
Oh,
But,
okay. Well,
yeah.
So
I mean, it's a long time, but yeah.
So like I run cocoa, straight cocoa. I do use salts, and I use a recirculating system, flood and drain. So
And you're always making noise. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm fucking noisy motherfucker. So I mean, how would one, given a recirculating ebb and flow system with cocoa, how would one incorporate the frass into that management practice?
You could definitely like run teas on top of that, before you run your system, like water it through before.
Do you think that I would encounter any problems if it was, because it's a recirculating system, if I incorporated it into the cocoa before transplant and then had that life, that biology circulating back into the reservoir
growing in your res?
That's what I want to know.
Okay.
I mean, I run biologics in my res anyway, and I don't really ever have any problems. That's
How often would you change this res out? Because that's like, this is like just doing organics through your system.
Yeah, but see, I don't actually change my reses. I just do top ups.
I would pre-mix it into the cocoa when you whip up your cocoa.
That's what I was thinking.
Perlite, persilite, and then some frass in there, and whatever else you want to put in there, just to get creative.
That's what I was thinking. I might do. You know what I might do? If I'd be interested in running some of it, I'll dedicate like a tray and a reservoir to it, and we'll see.
I think in our type of environment and setup, I think we use microbes more in place of the frass is more appropriate for us, not to diss the product or discredit the product, but I think that's more, I think microbes are geared more for us, for our application. And the frass is for our organic friends over here.
Yeah,
the fucking hippies.
It was just an interesting,
if I was doing trays, I would do a foliar spray. If I wanted to try it on my plant and get it on there.
That might not clog up your res. Probably not. Like it's only going to minorly be in there, especially if you strain it out. I'd say you could do a foliar, no problem.
Or maybe
I think that's a really underutilized system. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dave.
No, you're good. I was going to say maybe just apply it to the cocoa, like Jeff was saying before. It gets whipped up and used. Figure out how to just get like a charge, like a pre-charge on it. That'd be interesting. I'm interested to play with it. I just wanted to bounce that idea off your head and everybody else's. So.
Word. Yeah. Try it as a foliar. Yeah, I think it would help for sure.
So.
And if you have any styrofoam sprinkled on your canopy, it'll take it.
There you go.
2-3 days, it'll be gone.
I want to watch that. I really do. I just want to watch that process. Just eating styrofoam. Fucking A.
Oh
Hey,
man, you never.
Master Jeff,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
going to call you out.
Let's hear it.
At least get hippy dippy in there, not just hippie.
I got dreadlocks to my ass. I can call somebody a hippie.
I like the hippy dippy
There's some
terminology.
hippie shit going on over here.
I can test the styrofoam thing. Any of you guys that would like to send me a large television, maybe an 80 or a 90, because we need a large surface area of styrofoam is really the issue. So the larger the television, the better. Full HD 5K, please. But I mean, really, we're shooting for that large sheet of styrofoam. We'll have two of them, probably front and back.
The climate over
test
here is
the shit out of that in like
climate over here is
4K. I'll get
different, I think you might have
I'll
to
take
send
care
over
of
here
that.
to the East Coast. I'll test that out on the East Coast climate.
I'll do it first. I'm on the West Coast, so I have like more sunlight and stuff. So let's do me.
No, I was just, you know what?
Or you drive a really hard argument.
I'm over here convinced I should buy you a fucking TV now.
I'm already shopping on Best Buy for the shit.
So, you know what I was just thinking? Well, besides, I was thinking, what, you've never cut some silverback and thrown it up in the grow room? You get styrofoam all over the place. And then I was thinking, wait a second, if you are spraying that and you do have some insulation up on your walls, well, a good way to test that theory is if your fucking wall starts melting away or something. If you just got a hollow sheet of foil hanging there behind your canopy, then you'll know for sure this shit eats styrofoam.
You just started a new frass company.
Yeah, styrofoam frass. It's gonna be big.
I think Hella High Dog thinks I'm Oprah. Free TVs for the entire show. What the fuck? I wish. I'm Oprah.
My Tara's credit
Wait,
card.
wait, so is that free TVs for all the panelists? Because that would be
Everybody look under your chair.
Everybody. Look under your chair. There it is.
Oh my
Hang that shit right behind me.
What is this? I don't get one.
Dan gets like a GoPro because
It's because I was late, wasn't I?
You need a
If you
50
were
just so
late,
it's
yeah.
proportionate.
I need like a 30.
my monitors are 27. I got 2 of them.
Yeah.
He's over there about to pee himself.
Yeah, because Blackstell's over here with his fucking like Bob Barker. It's a brand new car.
It's a Samsung Smart TV. It comes equipped with Roku and YouTube. It could be yours.
And it also comes
Okay,
with a Black
everybody
Sabbath
has to do.
Okay.
Everybody right now. Okay, it's on you, Rasta.
I just want
You have
everybody
to do
to
your
please.
favorite. You have to do your favorite game show impression right now.
Oh, I think I
help
just
control
did.
that
How
population.
about well, how does it go? Whammy. Remember that one? Remember
Oh,
Pressure Luck? That shit was awesome. Dudes would come and dance on your screen right here. Boop, boom, ba-da-da-da-da-da, and fuck all your money. And they take your money from you. I miss those guys. They were the coolest.
We're taking it a little way back for some people there.
I might be older than some of us.
Okay, Dan, it's you. You're on spot.
Me. I'm on this. Oh, geez. I don't even have a favorite TV show. Dude, I don't watch TV.
How do you not have a favorite
You
TV?
stay home
Oh,
from school
come
and watch
on.
something
One
sometimes.
game show. You know one game show. Come on. Even
What
when
was
you
the
were a
one-
little
what
kid,
was the
didn't
one
your
where they had
parents
Plinko?
make you watch that shit?
That was the prices. What about Jerry Springer? That was a good game show. Remember that?
Oh yeah. I don't think that was the fight
Everybody
show.
on that show was a loser.
Boring was also a good one too.
Literally.
The audience won. The audience won every
Yeah.
time. If they were
Jerry was the only one winning in that shit.
Okay, so who
If
wants
they
to
were interested in a shit
who
show,
wants
you-
to volunteer to
came
play
to the
my
right
game
place.
then? Apparently,
play
Dan
your-
doesn't wanna
Say,
play.
this wasn't a game show. I guess it technically was a game show for the panelists, but I loved Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm gonna go
That
see
was- It's a
who's
classic.
live. I've seen Who's Live anyway once before, and I'm gonna go see them again in November.
October.
Yeah, Sept winter.
Good. I was like, well, we have another month.
Honestly,
When-
I've been binging Practical Jokers. They got clips on YouTube. They have a playlist of 700, and I think I made it through it in like 2 weeks. I don't know.
You look
Oh,
like an
Impractical
Impractical
Jokers.
Jokers fan.
Funny as hell. Yeah, they're funny. They are.
If you guys like skit humor and shit like that, watch Kids in the Hall. That was fucking hilarious.
Remember The State?
Dude, Brain Candy, best movie, top 10, I'd have to say. Kids
the
in the
best
Hall,
year.
Brain Candy.
It's the best your mic has ever worked.
He had something important to say. I
Yeah,
triggered him.
the guy-
He was like, "Oh
Brain
my
Candy,
God,
guys.
There's someone else here who knows about Kids in the Hall."
Oh, Raymond came up with a good one. Let's make a dope deal.
I'm in.
I like that one.
Remember Double Dare?
Double Dare, where they'd fly around in the slime.
Take the physical challenge.
Yes, please.
Did any of you ever watch that stupid show with those big balls? And it was that obstacle course, and the people would run through and they would like
Oh, the
snack on
Jacked
those
one,
things.
the Dr.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Into the water.
I can't remember what the name of it is, but I do remember watching that, and it was rather entertaining.
Wipeout and Maximum Extreme Challenge.
Wipeout.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
Maximum Extreme
Wipeout.
Challenge was my favorite.
MXT.
With the
MX
dubs.
when they would fucking overdub it. Yeah, that shit was so awesome. Here
Dude,
come
that was
Karen.
a-
She work in office all day, coming to run obstacle course today. Yeah.
that was really good. Yo, do you guys remember American Gladiators, where they would like
Oh.
hit each other with the giant Q-tips?
I went and saw that shit live one year.
Really?
I'm from California, so I got to see some crazy shit. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but some of those women were not women.
No.
Oh, that was men with long hair for sure. Like, you're not named Laser as a girl, and I'm Laser. I'm here for American Gladiator.
Your name is what?
Laser.
Laser.
It's ma'am.
Speaking of which, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a salient subject these days. Like, you know, I can't think of her name right now, but the Igor Semenya or something. Her first name's not Igor, but probably someone in the chat knows what I'm talking about. It's a South African. Yeah, exactly. So she's got a weird name. I don't know. It's a South African name. I can't think of it. Whatever. She was, I think Semenya is her last name. So I guess she has like super, super high testosterone. And people are always super cagey about it. It's an awkward discussion to have because she looks quite mannish when you look at her. If you saw a picture of her at the Olympics or something, she looks, you know, physically quite mannish, right? She looks a little bit like Dan, that husking, muscular man that hosts our show normally.
Take a compliment, Dan.
Anyway, so people complained a lot, and they said, "Well, this chick isn't actually a dude." And I guess she passed like the physical exams, which again is super awkward. Like, hey, I think that chick has a wiener. You need to go and check that. That's a weird thing to go and ask, right? So it's like, that was a strange thing. It took forever for them to actually get to that. Anyway, I guess now she's going to play like women's soccer. It's going to be the whole thing over again. It's going to be like, is this woman man or man woman or whatever playing women's soccer? It's a strange discussion to have these days. I don't know. But at the same time, it has to be had because a person like that, she has a right to play soccer if she wants to. She has a right to run if she wants to or whatever, right?
Well,
I don't know. Sorry, everything got way thrown upside down.
When you're talking about a chick who is born a chick, I think that you know, you shouldn't be able to put any restrictions on what she can do as far as athletics. I think that there's more controversy when you have someone who is born a male entering female sports and have the bone structure and everything of a dude competing against women. I don't think it's fair, you know. Even if they've fully transitioned, I still don't think it's fair because you can't undo their bone structure and how they developed through puberty and all that stuff. And I think it's just
I have no idea what the example would be, but what if there was something, I don't know, climbing into small spaces or something? I don't know, just some stupid example came to my head. What if there were a circumstance where literally that would be disadvantageous, where having a natural woman's body from birth or whatever, and then you transition and you're still disadvantaged? I mean, are you suddenly now going to be entered into that competition, or are you still going to be kept
I
out?
am so fucking lost as a woman right now. Sorry.
Maybe we're too high.
He was talking about a chick who has a natural high level of testosterone competing in sports, and there being controversy around it because people not believing she was an actual chick. I don't know the scenario exactly, but you know, I know with certain sports and athletic you know, professional events, you have to have like, you can't have too much testosterone in your system, period, whether it be natural or not. So she might have to take some sort of hormone suppressant or something to be able to compete with the other women. I don't know.
You know what I know though? I love
that would be weird.
weed, man.
I think
love
it's
growing
dab
weed.
time.
I love growing weed, man. It's so fucking cool, bro. It's green, it's purple, and it just mixes together with some yellow sometimes, dude, and it tastes good. And fuck, does it smell good?
Speaking of which, I got some Granddaddy Perps in my pen this time, and yo, delicious.
What's the next weird color of weed?
What was that?
The next weird color of weed.
Yeah, like, it used to be
chartreuse.
Lime green for Northern Lights. What's the next, like, oh my god, we gotta have that?
Chartreuse.
Red. I want to see somebody come out with something red. Like, I've seen purple plants.
Okay, have you all grown a purple plant? Have you grown one in your own personal garden though that came out really purple? Because I have not, and that's what I would like to grow first.
Not actual bud purple, but leaves have been purple as fucking stalks, but not like actual like purple bud.
I've grown purple buds.
Purple
speckles of purple.
Pistils were purple for the first time.
Pistils.
I grew some cherrygasm from TGA Genetics, and the whole thing turned purple as fuck. The leaves, the buds, everything. Just did it on its own.
I have a 9-pound hammer growing. I really hope I get a purple phenotype. I'd like that.
Yeah, me too.
Well, we're all praying for you to get one too, Zen.
Thank you, man. Appreciate your support over there.
As I'll take this prayer.
Take that prayer deep inside you.
Whoa.
Time over
The
there.
prayer, Jeff.
It's
Inhale.
weird here.
Weird in
Exhale.
this
Oh,
show.
boy, you got a
Listen.
prayer now.
Hallelujah. Is
that's
that
your
what we
podcast.
scream out now, or what the hell?
You gotta say Star Dog. Star Dog.
Our dog.
No.
You know,
Weird.
It's a prayer. It's a ritual. I gotta kind of do it in silence. I can't talk to you while I do it.
I think that you know, the whole bag appeal is kind of gonna go by the wayside though, like what the next hype color is gonna be, shit like that, because the flower market isn't what it used to be anyway. What is it, like 70% of the market is concentrates and 70% of that is like cartridges. So
Do you
and
think we're going to be able to release and unlock different colors in the plant, such as like neons and like blues, or like some?
Well, I
crazy
would think
shit?
I was joking earlier about chartreuse. If you know what that color is, it's like the color of the fucking reflective vest, like a greenish, bright neon yellow.
Like workers.
I mean, I don't see why
Yeah.
it's unreasonable that you have them in flowers. You know, like anything that's in a flower, I think would be possible in a cannabis plant. Like literally that. Like if you have the possible, that's I think one of the reasons why dark blues and dark purples kind of are locked out for some plants. I don't know the chemistry. Maybe someone in our chat knows that, but there are some colors that some plants just can't cross do. But maybe Stabby even knows. But otherwise, for example, roses, like all the weird colors of that a rose could do, I bet a cannabis plant could do that. Go ahead, Stabby. So I didn't interrupt.
Well, the purple colors actually come from a specific compound, anthocyanins, that turns the pigmentation of the plant from green to purple. Like even developed inside of the trichome heads itself. That's how you get the purple hash and stuff like that, or the purple rosin that you've seen.
So what is it actually called?
Anthocyanins.
Yeah.
So in
Cyan is blue.
In a green plant, is it like something like the chlorophyll is green, right? So
yeah,
where does this purple come in? Like
it's the lack of.
It's a new compound. Yeah,
the lack
it's like
of
THC is a
chlorophyll.
compound.
Okay,
No,
the
it's a
lack
different
of chlorophyll.
compound. It's a new. Well, that's the thing. You can kind of do the cold weather tricks. Like for example, plants in the literally when they freeze over, they'll turn super purple. Or in a grow room, you can like actually like like a exotic mic used to air condition the room to get the super pretty pictures. Go ahead, Zen.
Well, it also has to do with the pH. Sorry.
Yeah,
it has to do with the pH. Like that's why berries are so purple, because they're acidic. Or I mean,
but I don't think it's just pH, because for example, there are some phenotypes that they turn purple. So they have the internal compounds.
Like
they
depending on
synthesize
like how red or like how purple they are or how black they get, it has something to do with the pH. I can't remember
ahead, Zen.
it off the top of my head.
Did anyone ever try to put food coloring right into weed?
What? No, don't do that.
Oh,
then you're smoking food coloring.
I know what he's talking about, though.
Test?
I know what he's talking about. You
mean
know, when you're a
watering
kid,
it?
you'd put some daisies and some
right
Watering
food-colored
it,
water. I
I
don't
know what you're
think
talking
that would work, though.
Have you guys ever watched a movie called The Botany of Desire?
Yeah.
So in this movie, they relate tulips, apple trees, and marijuana together as how humans have basically bred them to make them what we want. And without us, they would never have done this. And then that's how we get the tulips, so many colors. And then the apple trees, how we get their ciders from it, and some you can't even fucking eat. But let me drop this link for everybody. Bam! Check this movie out. But that's why I asked that question. You think you'll be able to breed out maybe marijuana eventually to have maybe different exotic colors, more so than your like purple, greens, and yellows? I want to see like some psychedelic shit, maybe. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. Maybe in the future.
So what you're trying to tell me is you want to see like some Indian corn, but marijuana.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, depending on what you're growing under and how you get the plant to express, you can already see
it's gonna
everything
be lighting,
from purple, green, yellow, brown, reds. Like that Mendo that I grew out, man, under those I used the new blue supplemental diode pucks from Grow Mouse, and I got all sorts of fucking crazy colors out of that thing.
Like
Like
purples and yellows, or like
yeah,
what?
man. Like the buds themselves had a little tinge of like pink and purple in there, and then the fan leaves, they fucking got like all yellowed and like tiger striped. You know what I mean? Like because it was
Like the veins were still green,
exactly.
and then the centers were yellowing.
Yeah. Well, no, the veins turned like a golden brown, and it. I would just have to pull up a picture of it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I mean, though. It's like
It's a very
pretty.
bouquet of
It's
color.
very pretty when the leaves turn like a fall color. You know, and the
Exactly.
yeah.
It's very autumn. It's
Yes.
not how to see.
I posted a picture of my solar flare. Looks like that. I took it down a couple days ago, but it was looking like yellow on the veins of the leaf with red inside. So it was pretty cool. Make some sweet canagars with those.
Well, as the plant senesces, it's gonna, and a lot of those chlorophylls are gonna. Why is the word keep? I'm lost at the second with the word. Chlorosis. You know, it's the leaf starts getting chlorosis over it, where the chlorophyll is degrading, and the leaf is dying because the plant is senescing.
And
it makes it
English,
look super. Yeah, in English, it looks really pretty.
All right. So everybody just got quiet. It's that awkward silence.
Must be dab time.
Yeah, have you heard every barrel hit?
He's had it nice and low today. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, he's been really gentle on you guys' ears tonight. Hey, Bingo Lombardi, thank you for hanging out and being my awesome mod tonight and sharing all the things and modding up everybody. Thanks, guys, for hanging out tonight. I really want to thank you all for coming in. This is the most people I've ever had in my live chat, probably the most I ever will. But hey, thanks. Thanks to the EO guys. Thanks, guys.
Saving us. We were having such trouble. You basically swooped in and saved the whole channel.
Yeah.
Moment, so appreciate it.
Our hero.
Well, hey, if I can link this up and get it on your guys' whatever I can do to help the community out, you know, I'm there.
Sweet. It's very
Dabs
kind of
for
you, Tara.
everybody.
Okay, well, dabs up, and you guys want to call it a night? Do you want to
I
Wrap
actually
it
had
up.
I had a question for everybody. I wonder if
Okay,
this
go
will be
ahead.
interesting. So I was DMing with a buddy of mine, and this person is a super competent grower. So there's not a question of, oh, that person's a dumbass or something. This person is literally a very competent grower. Could hang on this panel, no problem. Well, in my opinion, this grower said something a little bit kind of goofy, that they use sulfur in flour. And what's worse is they use a sulfur burner. To me, I was like, holy shit, the fuck.
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't do that.
I don't think that's a good thing. What do you guys think? I think the sulfur burner is actually an order of magnitude worse than the actual sulfur spray. I think that they say that it actually turns into an organic volatile compound as opposed to just being sulfur. But sulfur is basically like the king of volatile organic compounds. I mean, you can smell it horribly. It stinks. That's a volatile organic compound. You want to avoid those things generally in life, and you
As
especially
for
want to avoid
dummies, like,
smoking those.
why are you using? As for all the dummies in chat like me, why are we using
obviously they have mites, you know. They have mites, you know. So like anybody that has mites or something, they're trying to deal with it because they want to have a harvest. I think in this particular case, it's a long harvest, like a 12-week or 11-week or whatever the case may be. So it's, yeah, you know, like they have to deal with it. But I said no, not that way. And then the next question would be, how would you deal with it?
The thing is that creates sulfur dioxide when you burn sulfur, and that particulate is going to settle on your buds. You're not going to be able to get that shit off of there. It's going to be inside of your fucking trichome heads because you're turning it into a fucking a micronized particle by burning it, right? So that's going to be the worst plan of option.
Everything.
So the whole room is going to taste and smell like sulfur when you grow. When you harvest, the buds are going to taste like shit. If you make concentrates, the concentrates will taste like fish oil. It actually makes it taste like fish and rotten food. One time I worked for a facility, and before I took over, they sprayed everything with sulfur. It was part of their routine. They gave me some concentrates, and I smoked a gram of it, and I knew it tastes bad, but I mean, it was concentrate, so I smoked it. My pee smelled like sulfur a couple days later. Like, so the sulfur will get in you and mess you up. It just tastes terrible. A way around it is beneficial insects. Like, why spray some shit when you can just have some bugs just go do the work for you?
That grower was super pronouncedly skeptical of bugs. You know, like a lot of people are skeptical of bugs. I said, try the sachets, try the whatever.
Another strategy.
If you're not going to do that, if you're going to do sprays, I said try something like citric acid, you know, the Dr. Zymes or something you can make your own, whatever.
Yeah,
Or
you
is
want
there
it
a
to be
better
as
answer?
gentle as possible because you don't want it to be any kind of solvent that's going to degrade your trichome heads, right? So I would say if he's not willing to spend the money on beneficials and he's already got a problem or something, remove as many of the leaves as possible. Like, get that material out of there that the mites are on, and hopefully, you know, limp it to harvest, or perhaps even spray it down with like straight water. Reduce the, you know, bring your humidity down in your room up, you know, raise your airflow so that you don't get any mold in your buds or anything like that. But these plants do naturally grow outside in the rain, right? So it's possible to wash the bugs off and physically remove them.
That's an excellent
Exactly.
point.
Okay, so that's what I
Soapy
was going to
water.
bring up. Okay, so now there's two things going on right now in the regenerative world, but I want to talk about the sulfur first. The sulfur, are you saying you cannot use sulfur, or you can only not use sulfur in
Not
bloom?
in flower. Not
Okay,
in flower.
that's okay in flower. Okay, that's what I wanted
As
to make
soon
sure.
as you
Okay,
see
that's
like
what,
pistils,
I knew that. I knew that, but I
recommend it.
wanted to make sure that that's exactly what
veg,
you're talking about.
perfect. But you have to wash it off. You have to make sure
Yeah.
you wash it off before you get to veg.
And I would do like
because
a
it'll show up. You will
micronized.
definitely show it up.
Yeah, I would do like a
You'll taste it in the
micronized
flower,
sulfur
you'll taste it in the
solution
rosin.
or something.
Spend more money correcting
Well-
the room and less money on sulfur.
As a regenerative grower, and as I'm practicing to learning, and I'm having others, and I know a lot of people that are doing it, and I'm talking to a lot of them, we have had a hell of a problem with these russet mites. I am not kidding you. It doesn't matter how diligent you fucking are in your garden. I have a speck right over here that I look at every single freaking day. I went out there and I picked freaking leaves off of every single freaking plant, and I have looked at them. I have scoped them, and I tell you what, I ended up with russets again, you guys.
They
They're impossible. They're a horrible bug.
They are
They burrow
just
into the
around
stems, they do
here.
all kinds of
No,
stuff.
they are just, I think they are just here. Like, I live out in the middle of sticks. If I have thistle blow in, or a bug that's landed on something just right over in my neighbor's backyard and lands on my thing, how do you control those? You're just never going to.
You're never going to
Greenhouse?
completely control
Well,
them. But that's, I mean,
here's the
that's
thing.
agriculture. That's real
I
agriculture.
have predators out there. I have them.
Okay.
And that's what you
What
can
about,
do. Like if you have a shitty situation, you just have to deal with it.
What about soybean oil?
Haven't done
Companion
that.
planting. Companion planting. Something
Well,
to prevent them
that's-
from making it to the cannabis. A barrier between there.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Barrier, companion
What kind of
planting,
barrier would be effective? What would you use?
marigold.
I like AJ's gardens. Go hard on insect frass and give your plants an immune system to fight those goddamn russets.
Yeah, my friend hit some with sulfur during veg, and then hit some hard with frass, and that's like part of his IPM.
Yep.
I've heard of
what I'm
that. So
hearing.
how I've heard of people using frass deliberately as IPM, not to trigger the SAR or anything like that. How do you use it as IPM, and why is it working that way?
To just get it, you can foliar and like top dress with it to just make your plants as strong as possible and them less appealing to any insect as possible. Like
But I mean, you know, in our chat, we have people that everywhere from experts that run indoors with probably 1,000 lights to people who are just starting their first grow. Why is it an effective IPM strategy? In other words, it's another reason why they should buy a bag of your frass. So why should they?
Yeah, to make the soil, you know, inhospitable, to make it hot for like insects to land in. It'll strengthen cell walls of your plants and like make them harder for insects to you know, get inside.
Now I forget, does the chitinase transfer through the plant, or is that mostly calcium? Because I know that you can replace the pectin in the cell with calcium by like chelating calcium into the plant with like amino acids and stuff like that, and help strengthen the plant that way. Does the chitin or the chitinase get into the plant in any way and strengthen it from within, not just by like fertilizing it or preventing but like actually cause the plant to express more or differently?
Yeah, because it affects their immune system. They produce chitinase when chitin is present in the soil, which is like a immune system response by the plant. So like that slight stress, and the immune system boosting property make your plant. It definitely reacts in like a biological way.
So basically, when you're saying that, it's like it's one of the other stress responses where rosemary plant smells viciously like rosemary. It doesn't smell like a flower. It doesn't smell like a rose. It doesn't smell like I don't know, something else. It doesn't smell like a cucumber. It smells like rosemary, or thyme smells like thyme, because that particular terpene, that plant, through all the generations of that plant's life, has determined, hey, that's pretty effective for all the pests that like to eat me. So I'm just going to burst that smell, and it's going to be vicious, and the bugs are not going to eat me. And so, for example, the plants will produce chitinase. It's a little bit different. It's an enzyme, but that enzyme will go out and start to attack bug shells. Like you said, it'll make it an in-hospital environment, but it'll also trigger the mycorrhiza, the fungus, the mushrooms and stuff. They will be like, well, shit, dudes, we're going to get on it, because people forget that there's an interaction between the fungal sphere and the plant sphere, right? In an organic environment. Totally.
Yep. Yeah. It just triggers like the soil and all the directions you want. Yeah. Makes fungus grow like I have like a lot of mushrooms like growing out of the bottom of my pots because of it. It's just like
I get little mushrooms popping up all around my drippers.
Word.
AJ's Garden makes a great point. Someone in our private chat wanted to point him out. It says he builds the bricks level. A few people in our chat have started to talk about the bricks level of the plant. The bricks level is the actual internal sugars. And so, for example, something like Frass is one of those kind of typical bricks enhancers. At least that's the sales pitch. So thankfully we get people like you to come on the show and tell us about this, because it does sometimes sound like mystical heebie-jeebie, especially if you're not into organics or don't understand how, I don't know, enzymes or anything. Those things are super complex. I don't know if anyone truly understands enzymes. You know what I mean? So it's nice to finally talk to someone who can say, hey, this expensive thing, yeah, dude, it is worth it. I can tell you why.
Totally. Yeah. I could see how people might think that it's like all of its properties are like inflated, but it's just like the more you read about it, the more like of a kind of miracle fertilizer that it actually sounds like what it actually is. So
very cool. On that note,
and
that was awesome. Like, really like talking to you guys. And Fumidor, thank you for pointing out AJ. He has been given some nice knowledge in chat, and he's been around for quite a while in the cannabis world and out in the live chats. And I appreciate you being here tonight. Thanks, AJ, for all your knowledge that you share with us too. And Fumidor and everybody else on the panel, thank everybody. Oh my God, EO, you guys have been keeping it hanging. You guys have like the best chat, the best lives. Tanasi's got the bell hanging. I love those dabs. This is like going to be my favorite show. All them dabs I get to take with Tanasi. So yes, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. And you guys, I'm going to let you close out the show. Go for it.
And Dirtman Dan is gone.
I'm not gone. I'm still here. I don't know what you're talking about. I just turned my camera off.
Oh, okay, now just say that. Okay, now say that.
Does he even have his pants on?
Where's your camera, brother? I didn't see you, man.
We'll be back in action. Same bat channel, same bat time. Over on the EO show next week for sure.
I don't know, man. You guys saw what happened, bro. Don't blame this shit on me, bro.
It was all Tanazi's fault. Remember, everyone in the chat, blame Tanazi.
Is that his third strike already, or
second?
Okay.
Well,
The
alligators
are you guys gonna go out arguing like little brothers or what? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Welcome to the show.
Okay. Well,
Have a
hey
good weekend,
guys.
everybody.
I guess the big sister has to step up here and shut the boys down and say, have a fantastic night. Thanks for joining. Please like and subscribe. Please go over to their channel and go find the EO guys if you haven't already followed them. We'll make sure we get all the links and everybody's name. Sorry, it has a stupid title right now, but we'll get the title changed. Thanks everybody for hanging out. And thanks you guys for letting me host. I really appreciate this. And I love y'all.
And also, please help control the pet population. Have your pet spayed and neutered.
Oh, Bob Barker, I love it. Thanks for that ending.